She drops to her knees in the dirt, grabs his hand, and whispers, "Tommy, please don't do this." The wind howls across the oil fields. Flames rise behind them, and for the first time ever, Tommy doesn't look back at her. The season opens in the middle of chaos. A drilling rig burns under the dark Texas sky. Smoke rolls across the land like a storm that won't stop. Sirens scream in the distance, but they are still miles away. Workers run, shouting names, trying to count who made it out alive. The fire lights up Tommy's face. He stands still, jaw tight, eyes locked on the flames. This rig was more than metal and oil. It was power. It was money. It was control. And now it's gone. Tommy slowly walks toward the heat, ignoring the men who yell at him to stay back. His boots crunch on broken glass and burnt dirt. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't blink. In his mind, he already knows this wasn't an accident. Too much has gone wrong lately. Too many threats. Too many meetings that ended in silence instead of handshakes. A truck pulls up fast behind him. The door swings open. Cammy steps out. Her face is pale. She looks at the fire, then at Tommy. For a moment, she can't speak. The flames reflect in her eyes. It almost looks like she's the one burning. She walks toward him carefully, like she's afraid he might break. "Tommy," she says softly. He doesn't answer. He doesn't even look at her. That scares her more than the fire. This rig was the center of a new deal. A deal that was supposed to change everything. Bigger investors. More land, more risk. Tommy had fought hard for it. He pushed people aside. He made promises he wasn't sure he could keep. But he believed in one thing: control. As long as he had control, he could protect his family. But tonight, control is gone. A worker runs up and tells Tommy that the fire started from the lower pump system. That's strange. That system was just replaced last month. Tommy finally speaks, his voice low and calm. "Who signed off on it?" The worker hesitates. "The paperwork came from the main office." Tommy turns his head slowly toward Cammy. She feels that look like a knife. "I didn't," she starts, but she stops herself. Now is not the time. Men are injured. Reporters will show up soon. The state will ask questions. And if this fire was not an accident, then someone wanted to send a message. Tommy steps closer to the flames. The heat pushes against his skin. His eyes narrow. This wasn't just about money. This was personal. The camera shifts to earlier that same day. Tommy is in a boardroom filled with men in suits. Clean table. Cold water glasses. Forced smiles. A rival landman sits across from him, leaning back like he already owns the place. The deal on the table is massive. Thousands of acres. Millions of dollars. But the rival makes one thing clear: you can't hold this land forever. Tommy, sooner or later, someone stronger comes along. Tommy doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. "I am the stronger one," he says simply. Back to the fire. Cammy watches Tommy's face as he remembers that meeting. She knows that look. It means he's putting the pieces together. And once Tommy starts connecting dots, he doesn't stop. Police cars finally arrive. Red and blue lights flash across the smoke. Questions begin flying. Was it faulty parts? Was it poor safety checks? Or sabotage? Tommy walks away from the crowd and pulls out his phone. He makes one call. "Find out who touched that pump system," he says. "Everyone. I want names by morning." He hangs up and finally faces Cammy. The silence between them is heavy. "You approved the last payment?" says quietly. Cammy swallows. "The numbers were clean. That's not what I asked." She looks back at the burning rig. For a second, guilt flashes across her face, quick but real. "Tommy sees it?" "Tommy," she says carefully, "there are things happening you don't see." His eyes harden. "Then show me," before she can answer. An officer walks up and tells them the fire may have spread to a nearby storage tank. If that explodes, the damage will double. Tommy turns away again, focused on the crisis. But Cammy stands frozen because she knows something he doesn't. Earlier that week, she met someone in secret. A quiet diner outside town. No cameras. No staff who asked questions. A man she never thought she would deal with. He offered protection. He said rivals were planning something big. He said Tommy was in danger. The only way to stop it was to shift a supply order. Just one change in paperwork. No one would notice. She told herself it was harmless. Now, a rig is burning. Back in the present, Tommy walks past her without another word. That hurts more than anger. If he shouted, she could fight back. If he blamed her, she could defend herself. But this cold silence means he's thinking. And when Tommy thinks, people fall. The fire finally begins to weaken as crews spray foam over the metal. Smoke fills the sky. News helicopters circle above like vultures. CAM. I steps forward, her voice breaking just slightly. Tommy, please don't do anything until we know for sure. He stops walking but doesn't turn around. Know what? That this wasn't just business. He slowly faces her now. It's always business. The camera closes in on Cammy's face, fear, regret, love, all mixed together because she knows the truth, and if Tommy finds out she made that deal behind his back, even to protect him, this fire will be nothing compared to what comes. Next, the morning after the fire feels wrong. The sky is bright and clear, like nothing happened. But the land still smells like smoke. Black metal sticks out of the ground where the rig once stood. Men walk around quietly, picking through what is left. No one jokes. No one laughs. Everyone knows this was not just bad luck. Tommy stands alone near the wreckage. He hasn't slept. His shirt is still covered in ash. He bends down and picks up a warped piece of metal from the pump system. He studies it like it might speak to him. His phone buzzes. A message comes in. The pump parts were switched 2 days ago. Order approved from main office? Signed by Cammy. Tommy reads it twice. His jaw tightens. He doesn't call her. He doesn't storm off. He simply puts the phone back in his pocket and looks out over the land. Someone moved against him. And someone close to him signed the paper that made it possible. Cut to Cammy inside the house. The curtains are half closed. She hasn't changed clothes either. She stands at the kitchen counter, staring at her phone. She keeps replaying the meeting in her head. 3 nights before the fire, a small diner outside town. Neon lights buzzing. Only 2 other customers inside. Cammy sits in a booth by the window. She keeps her sunglasses on even though it's dark. A man slides into the seat across from her. Calm, clean, polite smile. He doesn't give his name. He doesn't need to. Everyone knows who he represents. You love your husband, he says softly. Camilla doesn't answer. He's about to walk into a fight he can't win. The man continues. Big investors. Bigger enemies. They don't lose. She keeps her voice steady. Tommy doesn't lose either. The man smiles a little wider. Everyone loses when they don't see the full board. He explains that a rival group plans to hurt Tommy's operation. Not kill him. Just weaken him. Damage a rig. Scare investors. Make him look careless. But it can be avoided. All she has to do is redirect a shipment. Change a supplier. A simple move. It would protect the main site and push the risk somewhere else. Somewhere smaller? It's just business, he says. You'll be protecting your family. Cammy's hands tremble under the table. She asks what they get in return. Access, he replies. A small share in the new land deal. Nothing that hurts you. Nothing Tommy has to know about. She should have walked away. She knows that. But the thought of Tommy, blindsided, of him standing alone against men with more money and less mercy, that fear sits heavy in her chest, so she nods back to the present. Cammy hears a truck pull into the driveway. She freezes. Tommy steps inside. The door closes slowly behind him. The house feels too quiet. He doesn't shout. He sets his keys down gently. That is worse. Did you sign off on the supplier change? He asks, without looking at her. She swallows. Yes. Why? She walks toward him carefully. Because I was told the old supplier had issues.